What's up everyone, welcome back to The Contentment. This is a place where we pull together ideas from the world's creatives to help level up our mind, body and spirit. Every time, it's got to say something weird. I am fired up at the moment, like the way that I'm viewing everything at the moment. We are in season 3 of 2023, so March. And we have the opportunity to make each and every day of this month count towards whatever it is you're working towards. And I'm just feeling super stoked, inspired, and like the momentum is just continuing to build because I'm not compromising now. Last year, I feel like I made a huge mistake in thinking that I had gained all of this momentum to a point where I felt sort of like unshakable. And then I let up the things that I had built up, and sure enough, I found myself in a pretty shit place again. And now I'm in the position where I'm feeling really good, but I don't want to fuck with that momentum. And so that is why I'm doing these challenges every month this year, so that I don't lose that momentum, because that momentum is a skill, much like everything else. If you've listened to any of these episodes or talk to me or whatever, seen my socials and shit, then you know that I think that everything's a skill. I've learned this off some of the greatest minds on the planet, and I definitely agree with them from experience, not just words, not just, hey, everything's a skill, woohoo. I fucking feel it deeply in my heart because I am now skilled in certain things that I never have been in my life ever before. And that leads me to today's video, which is what waking up at 4:30 every day for a month taught me. What are the lessons that I took away from waking up at 4:30 every month? Why did I even wake up at 4:30 every single day, including weekends, for a month, every single day? It starts off for me within the context of, what do I believe about myself? What do you believe about yourself? What is your identity? Who do you think you are? How do you think the world is? What are your world views? Whatever you believe, it's probably true. One of my favorite quotes from a friend of mine, Ruben, he always has said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So whatever your beliefs are, no matter how shallow or deep, they are probably true because you believe them so deeply that you will then act them out in the real world. So in relationship to getting up at 4:30 in the morning, what I have always identified as deeply is a night owl. And that might be because my dad was that, but for me, I always thought like, no, I just prefer nights and like I hate getting up early and blah, 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 blah. So something I wanted to do to challenge my identity was to start waking up at 4:30 every single day and going to bed early. And, you know, the reason that I wanted to do something radical like this is purely because I felt a bit stuck within the sense of momentum and within the sense of what I was doing and where I was going. I felt like I'd reached a slightly stagnant place where I wasn't making progress as much as I wanted to be, and I felt like something really radical needed to change, and I just wanted to change something, and luckily, for whatever reason, this clicked, and this is the thing that I lent into for February's challenge this year. And you know, you've got like the Jocko Willink, you've got the David Goggins, you've got all of these incredible motivational, just fucking amazing people always talking about waking up at 4:30 in the morning, or just talking about waking up early and getting up early. Surely there is something in that. I combated that my whole life and was always like, nah. Like, I'm a night owl, like it's all good, fucking blah, blah, make up for it at night time. Whatever excuse I wanted to give, but what I was doing in that case was defending my identity of the night owl and trying to brush off the 4:30 wake ups like it's not something that I need to do. But I couldn't actually know or speak on it because I'd never done it consistently, and I'd never gone to bed early consistently basically in my whole life. Getting ready to go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock for me is a huge change in my identity around sleep. Like, I've always viewed 9 p.m. as like, oh, it's still early, like fuck yeah, we still got like a solid 3 hours to like get some shit done. And yeah, it's just an awesome shift realizing that. So quick circle back, David Goggins, Jocko Willink, all these amazing people, it's fucking my turn. I want to see what this is all about. Why is getting up at 4:30 something that people even talk about? Aside from like the neuroscience lens from Andrew Huberman talking about how the circadian rhythms and tune with our body, and when the sun rises we wake up, and when it goes down we go to sleep, then we as a organism of this planet that runs off the sun like a battery will function and perform better. That also makes sense to me. But let's dive into the things that were a challenge and that I learned. I feel like going to bed, like I said before, at 9:30, 10 o'clock was extremely difficult for me, especially the first few days, just getting used to like, oh shit, it's 9 o'clock, I need to think about starting to get ready for bed. Wasn't a huge fan. However, what I really liked about it was going to bed early, then waking up early at 4:30 with a goal in mind. So whether it be working on my business, my content, or whatever else I had going on at the time, going to the gym, these sorts of things, whatever I did the night before in terms of goal setting made the next day a whole lot easier. So waking up with a plan of action and not just waking up and being like, oh, it's fucking 4:30, what am I going to do? Because not having a plan, I fucking thrive off routine and plans. And so long story short, if you're gonna start waking up early, make sure you have things to do and a power list of sorts to execute when you wake up. Having that time in the morning, for me, that was a huge lesson from getting up at 4:30. I realized how much like life force and how invigorating that was for me, doing work before my job, working on stuff that I love before having to go to work to make money. It was just like such a huge shift, because I was like, holy fuck, I have like all this extra energy in me throughout the day because I'm already starting off something exciting that I love, and I get to finish the day with that too. So I found, getting up early and doing something that I love first, like training or working on my shit, it just felt really invigorating for the rest of the day. So again, I've kept that habit with me, and I'm getting up earlier than I used to because it just feels fucking good. I feel more alive, and that is the whole point of all of this bullshit that you hear me talking about and all this stuff that I'm doing. I just want to feel more alive, or as I scratch that, I want to pursue what I believe I should be doing. I want to follow my genuine curiosity, and I want to reach where I don't know what it's like. I want to go where I don't know. How do we know? How do you know what it's like to feel your absolute best? You don't even know what that is because you've never experienced it. You've never fucking felt what that feels like because you've never truly been the person who you know you can be every single day, no matter what. Imagine what that would feel like after a year, 2, 3 years of doing that. That's the questions I want answered for myself. That's why I'm doing all of this shit, because I want to know what it's like to actually live up to my potential. And I fucking feel so good already and so fired up, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like in a few years' time, assuming all of this consistency and effort shows up. And I think I've learned enough lessons now to stay true to this course and to not give in to the temptations of all of the other shit like I have previously. So this brings me to one of my favorite quotes of all time by Denzel Washington, and that quote is, "To get something you've never had, you have to do something you never did." What a legend. To get something that you've never had, you have to do shit that you don't do, that you've never done. So we have to change up our identity. We have to change up the way that we are in the world and what we do to get different outcomes. So what is one simple shift that we can make? And in my case at the time, it was shift around my identity around sleep. Sure enough, changing that shifted other areas of my life and built more momentum in the direction that I'm trying to go. More invigoration for just being alive, I guess. So this brings me to the main concept of waking up at 4:30 and the biggest discovery here, which is the concept of identity. Where do my beliefs sit? How do I view the world? But more importantly, how and where is my conceptual identity holding me back? What self-limiting beliefs am I imposing on myself because it's what I believe or what I identify with? In my case, am I really a night owl? Was I really a night owl? Am I still now really a night owl? Or had I just never experienced what it's like going to bed early and waking up early? I now am happy to do either. They both have their purpose, but I was so dead set convinced that I was a night owl. Only through experiencing it firsthand, and I now realize that, fuck, maybe there is some merit in that. not only for the mental challenge, but all of the other things I mentioned previously, which help build up your life force. Weird term, don't really say it much, but seems to be coming out in this video, so fuck it. So something I've been asking myself is, am I being used by my identity and my beliefs, my self-limiting ways of being in the world, or am I using my beliefs to expand myself? Two very different things, and I find those really interesting questions to ponder. Like, what about your life are you not doing, or do you think you can't do? Like, oh, I'm not a podcast dude, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a social media guy, I'm not a business maker, I'm not a money maker, money's always been hard for me, blah 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 blah. Bullshit. All of it. I laugh because I'm hearing how fired up I get about this stuff, and it's kind of funny to watch myself like this, but it's so true, because I never thought, like, all of the things that I've done so far, which are just, it's bullshit, none of it matters yet. They are all stepping stones into my path, and I just really want to talk about it though. Like, I never thought I could be an author, I never thought I could write a book. I now have a book, you can get it from Paper Plus. I never thought it was possible for me to do a podcast and all of this stuff. Like, that's not completely true. I knew that it was possible, but I didn't believe. I wasn't shown through the world that it is possible. People like me don't write books. People like myself don't, blah, blah, blah. We don't blow up on YouTube. We don't do all of this stuff. We don't make podcasts. We don't blah, blah, blah. What self-limiting beliefs are we convincing ourselves of, or that our parents put onto us, or that our schools put onto us? What bullshit is holding us back that is just not true? A lot of it. And I'm speaking on this because it's my experience, and I have been held back heavily by my own beliefs about the way things are and how I am. When in matter of fact, like, anything is fucking possible, and that's such a Peter Pan way to look at the world, but it's true. If that wasn't true, then Elon Musk and all of these other people doing crazy shit wouldn't exist. It's possible. So you've got your identity, and that is potentially very self-limiting, and that's just going to take you around in circles with what you can and can't do. That's a closed box mindset. Or you've got the open box mindset, the truth, your potential. Then it's a self-expanding mindset. It's not self-limiting. That is where maybe you can do anything. What are my skills? What am I good at? What do I love? Maybe I should pursue that stuff. Maybe that box is open for me. Maybe I'm not as limited as I believe I am, and maybe my wildest dreams are possible. It's going to take intense, calculated action and daily showing up every single day, especially when you cannot be fucked, to make any of this true, to make these words that I'm saying actually possible. But in my opinion, it's the truth, and I say it from a place of dreamland hunter, because I'm yet to be where I want to be and all of that, but I know it's possible, and I know if I just keep going that it is possible, and I want to prove to myself that it is possible. And whatever it is that you want to do, prove to yourself that you can do it. Why would anyone believe in you when you haven't given them evidence to believe in you? Sometimes people get so offended, like, my family doesn't believe in me, or like all of these things. Why should they? They shouldn't, unless you have real world evidence that you are who you say you are. It's the only way you get people to believe in you. People don't care what you say. People only see what you do and judge you for that. And that's just the truth. Get to it. Make shit real. Whatever it is that you want to do with your life. Every single day. Whether it's for 30 minutes a day, 2 hours a day, whatever time. Just a little bit every day. Doing what you wish you believe. Doing what you wish that you were doing with your life, so that you can achieve your dream and not just get to the end of your life and be like, fuck man, I wish I just went all in. Fuck. With that being said, guys, what boxes are you putting yourself in? What boxes am I putting myself in? There are many that I am putting myself in, and that I'm trying to open. I really, really appreciate you tuning in. I hope that you are fired up from this episode. I hope that you learned something. If you did, I would appreciate if you share it with someone that needs to hear this message. If not, and you just listen to it, thank you. Feel free to message me and reach out about any of the topics, whether it's about that you're fucking struggling and you just don't know what to do with your life, whether it's you're just so stoked and inspired and want to bounce ideas, whatever it is. I love to connect with people on social, so reach out and we can have some chit chat. Jokes aside though, I really appreciate you tuning in, guys. Thank you so much for the dream, for the contentment. Let's get every last drop from this one shot we have at life. And it starts with shifting our identity and changing what we believe and understanding that anything is possible if we put our minds to it and if we put our daily actions in line with it. Much love, guys. Peace.